What is going on, my football family, my sports subscribers specifically? As you can tell, I've not posted a lot of football content. I have not posted a lot of sports content in general. I know you're well aware that I am a huge Cowboys fan. And going into this year at the start of my YouTube channel, I was very excited and finally get to talk about football and express my interest of it and the NFL in general and just the Cowboys and my aspirations of making this a career. Hopefully, just being able to talk about anything media, just hopping on the microphone, talking with you guys and getting your feedback, building a community and building a brand. And it took a bit of a stump. The Cowboys have not played good this year. They've been very disappointing, to say the least. And it starts with a lot of things. It mainly starts with the owner and Jaydens. But putting him aside, just the product itself on the field is just not the best. We were 3-3 going into the bye. We beat the Cleveland Browns. We beat New York, which is not a lot to say. And we beat Pittsburgh, which was a big win. Dak Prescott, I actually made a video about it. Dak Prescott, for the first time in a long time, clutched up, made a game-winning play, game-winning drive against a great defense, and you had some hope. And you was like, God, okay, 3-2, we're looking good. And then we go out at home against Detroit and get absolutely shellacked. We get embarrassed. Had O-linemen out there running the ball against us, catching passes. It was just terrible. It was embarrassing. Then we go into the bye 3-3, and it's like, okay, we're like 2 games away from the division. We still have a chance to make noise, make the playoffs. Just be competent, because we know if you were a very I wouldn't even say average fan, just if you were a very open-minded fan and not die-hard, delusional, you would have known that this team was not going to be a 12-win team again this year. The writing was on the wall. So you thought that, hey, they could at least make the playoffs and be better than the Commanders. That seemed to not be the case. We go to San Francisco, lay an egg. It was all downhill from there. We go to Atlanta. Dak Prescott tears his hamstring off the bone. And he was speculation. He was put on IR to begin with, and they said he was going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. And a lot of speculation was like, hey, you can come back this season, and blah, blah, blah. And then inevitably, he got a lot of different opinions and say, hey, you're not going to be able to play this year. Your hamstring's torn off the bone. Just ready up for next season and just get ready to be back for next year. Great. We have running back drama with Zeke. Ezekiel Elliott, the stuff coming out about Ezekiel Elliott being late for meetings. So he was suspended for a game, and then Rico Dowdle inevitably ended up being the number 1 running back, which everybody knew he should have been to begin with. But the problem being with all of these things, and Jerry Jones making all the shots, making all the calls. He loves Zeke. He was a first-round draft pick. He was the best running back for 2 or 3 years, and it's like, hey, he still got it, knowing he don't have it anymore. And then we get to the point to where a lot of Cowboys fans is frustrated. You have Trey Lance sitting there as your backup, but yet you're so keen about your guys. It's your guys. You drafted them. You put Cooper Rush back there, and you produce a boring product. So you spent a 4th-round draft pick on a quarterback who you said you was going to groom him, allow him to be able to possibly get a starting quarterback role whenever he does leave the Dallas Cowboys after this season. And you should have mainly put him back there to be the priority backup if Dak Prescott was eventually probably going to get hurt for any reason of some sort. But no, you keep Cooper Rush in there. Produce a bad quality on the field, a bad product. And you wasted a 4th-round pick when we've had guys in the 4th round, a lot of home run hitters, aka one being like the Jake Fergusons of the world, and a couple of O-linemen that we've actually hit on a 4th-round draft pick. That 4th-round draft pick is a very valuable draft pick. So you do that, and we proceed to lose to Philadelphia. We get embarrassed by Philadelphia at home. We lose to Houston at home. We beat Washington in a thriller. We beat New York. We lose to Cincinnati, and we won the last 2 games against Carolina and Tampa when the season's over. Demarion Overshawn, he has a terrible season-ending injury with the possibility of him being out for probably next year also. It was gruesome. Him and Micah Parsons has really only been the bright spot this whole season. And seeing him go down with an injury, it was very heartbreaking. The guy has a crazy, crazy future in the NFL and hopefully a Cowboy for a long time. We cannot seem to get away from the linebacker injuries. When we go from the Leighton Vander Esch's to the Jalen Smiths, Sean Lee, and now to Demarion Overshawn, it's just a cancer in the Cowboys locker room when it comes to just, and in the organization itself with all these linebacker injuries to potential organization changing guys. It's very heartbreaking to see that. Obviously, Micah Parsons been out like 5 weeks, and then DeMarcus Lawrence has been out since week 3. He's not even seen the field. Deron Bland, he's been out for like 10 games this season. He had his practice window open, but didn't even see the field for like 4 weeks. Just that, and CeeDee Lamb still not getting no help. CeeDee Lamb has actually been a bright spot this season. He actually just got shut down for the rest of the season yesterday, and he's got 1,000 yards. He's been very productive each week with Cooper Rush out there on the field. But to get the main answer to what's been going on, this organization is just depressing. Everything hurts. I mean, the owner just doesn't seem to understand or get why us fans are frustrated. It's frustrating talking about this team. If I hopped on this microphone after each game, I would be crying out the same thing over and over. The owner is the problem. You don't set this team up for success, and you keep bringing them down. Mike McCarthy's head coaching job has been on the ropes for all year. He's been on the hot seat. Noise has been heard from the Cowboys fans. You know, we don't like the fire guy, but yet we need a new voice in there. We got to get something else out of these guys. But yet, you're very keen and happy about the job Mike McCarthy has done. You just said after... This is probably the worst part of this season. You go into your game against Tampa Bay. You've been basically eliminated from the playoffs. And you go into this game, you get a win, and your comments about Mike McCarthy at the end of the game is, I'm glad these guys don't have no quit. You know, he galvanates them to play a good game, blah, blah, blah. We get it. Yes, when there's no expectations. This is what happens when the Cowboys don't have expectations. They play great. But what happened the first 10 games when there was expectations? You have a losing record. At one point, they were 3-7. Now they're 7-8. You know, they've won four out of the 5 games they've played. Yeah, they have no expectations at this point. They have nothing to lose. These guys are pretty much playing for their future careers at this point. The Cowboys are not playing for nothing. You're eliminated from the playoffs. But yeah, Jerry Jones is very proud of the fact that he got to galvanize the troops and to win a meaningless ball game that doesn't mean anything. They're going to Cabo once the last game is played. You think that Jerry Jones would be taking this time, and even Mike McCarthy himself, hey, put in Trey Lance. Let's just see what he's got. We wasted a 4th-round draft pick on him. Put Jonathan Mingo in. Allow him to do something. Put Dalvin Cook in. Let him be able to put some tape up for teams for his future of his NFL career. Just experiment with some things. See what we got in the future with the guys that we already have. You're doing that with the O-line to a certain degree, but you're not doing that with the primary skill positions. It's just a lot of things that just happen with this organization, and they were a main talking point in my channel, and it's got to the point to where they're so frustrating to talk about where I don't want to talk about them no more. I mean, I know this team inside and out. I can pretty much name every player that's on the roster at each skill position. That's how much a big of a fan that I am. And I've just not been able to talk about them just because they're boring to talk about. We shouldn't be talking about a losing team on my channel. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We should not be talking about a losing product. A losing organization, a loser organization. He doesn't know what it means to win. They don't want to win. At the end of the day, they print out money, and that's all that matters. They're worth $10 billion, and they're the number one sports team on Forbes list every year. That's all that matters to Jerry Jones. He's literally coming out with a Netflix series. In the middle of the season, when we just got eliminated from the playoffs, he announced we're going to have our own Netflix series. That's what Jerry Jones is worried about. Not about championships. He's just worried about printing money. So at the end of the day, he's going to set the organization up the field. Mike McCarthy's going to come back. Dak's going to come back. He's going to have no weapons. He's not going to have no guys to throw to. He's not going to have a productive offense to allow him to succeed. Not going to have a run game. The defense is going to continue to be wishy-washy. They're going to be good some weeks, and they're going to be bad some weeks. They're going to continue to beat up on the bad teams. And when they face a competent team that is good enough to win a Super Bowl, they are going to either get pounded by them or lose in an embarrassing type fashion, as they have done in the playoffs a numerous amount of times. And that trend is going to continue to go on with the Dallas Cowboys. Nothing is going to change. So is it disheartening that I have my expectations of my channel being, yes, we're going to talk about the Cowboys each week, and I just can't talk about them because they're sad, they're depressing. I don't even want to talk about them. And I can't really talk about other teams because I base my channel around one team. And when the team's not good, who else am I going to talk about? I mean, I watch almost all the games on Red Zone, but it's not specifically, I can't really talk about all the games because I don't have enough talking points because I don't know what happened each game. Maybe next year, I'm going to make it a priority to just say, let's just watch these certain amount of games and then talk about these specific games, highlight certain big games I want to talk about. Maybe take the formula away from like what First Take and them do. Just find specific games, big games you want to talk about, and we're going to talk about them together. But I can assure you this, guys. When the playoffs start, I'm going to be talking about each playoff game because I'm going to be watching all the playoff games. I promise you with that. So be on the lookout for that. I am going to have a lot of NFL playoff content for you. But, I mean, I just haven't had any talking points to talk about. I mean, you could talk about the Chiefs having a 15-1 record, being lucky all the time. We could have talked about that. We could talk about Josh Allen playing out of his mind, being a possible MVP winner, along with Lamar Jackson having the same stats as he has, probably even better since his last year, his MVP campaign. We could talk about that. We could talk about Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers playing some good football. We could talk about the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix being legit. Talk about Joe Burrow possibly missing the playoffs when Jamar Chase is going to win the Triple Crown. We could talk about the Eagles being fraudulent going into the playoffs without Jalen Hurts playing his A game. The drama with him and A.J. Brown. The defense hasn't been playing well as late. We could talk about that. We could talk about the Lions having all these type of injuries and possibly being probably one of the biggest teams to leave in the playoffs this year just because of all the bad injuries they've been dealt this season. Minnesota Vikings and Sam Darnold cooking. Jordan Love and the Packers being great. The Commanders finally having a 10-win season since like 1990-something. There's a whole lot of stories to talk about. See, my knowledge is there, guys. I haven't had just to, be able to make a 10-minute long video just talking about each of these topics, because I don't cover the team like I do the Cowboys. The Cowboys are my bread and butter. I could sit here for 10, 15 minutes and just talk about one topic on the Cowboys, and I'll be here all day. So my knowledge is there. The subjects, it's just maybe next year I'll change the format up. Maybe just talk about a couple things in one video. Maybe just even make a whole video and just cut it up into 3 different sessions and just post in 3 different sections. Maybe I might do that. I don't know. We just got to change some things up for the future of the channel. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to talk about the Cowboys. I just really have not been able to talk about them. That's just it. I just want to come out and say I apologize about this. I know that a lot of my subscribers out there who's been watching me for football and sports are probably like, Jaden, where's the Cowboys content? This organization just upsets me. They're not worth talking about. I agree with Shannon. We shouldn't even be talking about it. Even Cam Newton says this all the time. We shouldn't be talking about the Cowboys. They're just a bad team. But I will do my due diligence to work this off season, how I'm gonna structure my football content coming up next year. And obviously, like I said, in the playoffs, I'm going to be covering every game. I'm going to be covering every game, give you my thoughts about each game, and just building a community as I wanted to and intended to. But this video has already been insanely long. If you have been sitting here watching me, and my apology for this whole video, thank you for sitting and hearing what I got to say. If you enjoyed my video and my comments, drop a like on the video. If you enjoyed my sports takes, I got other types of sports videos of all the different types of games I covered in the season. All of those will be in the link in the description with a playlist titled Sports. If you enjoyed my content and my sports commentary in general, be sure to click that subscribe button and tap that notification bell when you get notified when all my videos go live. And again, guys, I will be having playoff content. I'm going to be your resource for any types of for all the playoff games, post game reactions for all the playoff games. I will be here and I will be square. I love you guys. Thank you for the continued support on the channel, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya.